The fluorescent lights of the grocery store hummed with a sterile, impatient energy as the Friday evening rush reached its peak, casting a harsh glare over the crowded aisles. At Register 4, the line had ground to a halt behind an elderly man struggling to navigate his prosthetic leg while placing his items on the conveyor belt with trembling hands. His movements were slow, deliberate, and clearly pained as he fumbled with a heavy bag of flour, his mechanical limb whining softly with the mechanical effort of shifting his weight on the hard linoleum. From the back of the line, the heavy sighs of overworked commuters began to sharpen into audible complaints, echoing off the metal shelving, as a young man in an expensive business suit tapped his watch and loudly muttered that people with special needs shouldn't be clogging up the main lines during the busiest hour of the day. A woman behind him chimed in, her voice dripping with a cold suburban entitlement, suggesting that the store should really have a separate entrance or a hidden line for the handicapped, so they wouldn't burden the rest of society with their slow pace. The old man didn't turn around to defend himself. His shoulders simply slumped a little lower as he focused on the exhausting task of counting out his change, his weathered hands shaking under the weight of the growing hostility radiating from the people he was inconveniencing. But the atmosphere in the entire front of the store shifted the moment the cashier, a young man who had been unusually quiet the entire time, scanned the final item. Instead of just handing over the receipt and moving to the next customer, the cashier stood at rigid, perfect military attention, his eyes filling with a profound and sudden reverence that commanded the attention of everyone nearby. He looked at the old man and delivered a sharp, disciplined salute that seemed to silence the entire row of registers and the angry murmurs alike. "It is a profound honor, sir," the cashier said, his voice carrying clearly across the store with a weight that made the air feel thick. "Thank you for your service and for the incredible sacrifice that allows us to stand here in peace today." As the old man reached for his bags, his movement caused his worn olive-drab jacket to flare open, revealing a retired veteran patch and a row of high-altitude jump wings pinned over his heart, medals that are only earned in the most hellish conditions imaginable. The impatient crowd froze in an instant, their complaints dying in their throats, as they realized the slow man they had been mocking was a decorated warrior who had spent decades serving in the world's most dangerous conflict zones, likely losing his limb in defense of the very freedom they were using to insult him. He didn't lecture them on respect, and he didn't raise his voice in a display of anger or wounded pride. Instead, he turned around with a humble, weary grace, looked directly at the man in the suit who had been the loudest critic, and simply said, "I am truly sorry for the long wait. Some days are harder than others." He offered a small, knowing smile, the kind of smile only possessed by a man who has seen enough war to easily forgive a little bit of civilian ignorance, and then limped silently toward the automatic doors. The silence he left behind was heavier and more suffocating than the noise that had preceded it, leaving a line of people standing in the sudden, crushing weight of their own shame as they watched a hero disappear into the evening light.